effects. Once you've worked out what variables and stuff, they can go straight in, and then you don't have to touch anything else in Mod Studio. Everything else is assigned in Object Editor. Alright, so firing requires mg hull fire equal to fire. Pretty straightforward. What I'll do is I'll just change it to hull flamethrower or something. MG firing, and then I'll add another one. Visibility name is not equal to hull flamethrower. And what I'll do is I'll set up so that the effects are different depending on the visibility name, so you can see what it does. Flame firing. And that will require mg hull fire equal to fire, and visibility name equal to hull flamethrower. So you see the only difference between these two behaviors is that this requires that it's not equal to hull flamethrower, and this one requires that it is equal to hull flamethrower. They both still run off that mg hull firing state. And basically what that means is when you set up your weapons is, where are we? I'll just close these. Is when you create your weapons, you create one weapon RGD for your flamethrower, and what did I say with the visibility? Hull flamethrower. All these variables should be set for flamethrower. They should all be mg hull or whatever. What that means is your flamethrower, you'll have visibility name equal hull flamethrower, but for your regular machine gun, it'll be the same settings, you just won't have that hull flamethrower there. And then inside the RGO, it'll control which effects are happening based on that visibility name. Okay, so we have a flame, and we have, okay. So add a new action, and call it mg firing. I'll add another one, I'll call it flame firing. I'll come back here, I'll have an enter action for the flame is the flame, and enter action for the MG is the MG. Okay, so now I want to, where are we? Effects attach. This may be easier to find another. If you find another RGO file, you can actually copy the action from a separate RGO file and paste it into here. So if you open an RGO that's already got firing set up, you can copy that action and paste it in here, and it will already have all the same effects attached and stuff like that. Alright, so weapons, muzzles. Let's see, I want 30 cal muzzle, that'll work, that'll be fine. Self marker, I want hull MG. What I'll do is I'll just, hang on, to play. Bingo, that's working already. Alright, and then when that's triggered, it'll create that nice little visual effect. Myself, that's cool. For flame firing, what was that? Effect attach. Alright, flamethrower. Is it muzzle flame? No, it's stream. Okay, so because I want the stream to go from the end of the muzzle straight to the target, I think stream combo is the right one. I think this is off the little flamethrower. But I want the self marker to be called to be from the whole MG, and I'll need to change the other from self to flame target. And then when I come over to Mod Studio, I'll have to come over here and change this effects action target name to match it. So what that'll do is when it creates this effect, it says, okay, so I want it to start from hull MG, and I want the effect to stretch to flame target, which is being designated here as the target that you're shooting at. Other marker, you leave it at random, that'll just randomly go to any marker on the target. If you wanted to always have headshots for a sniper rifle tracer, you'd set that other marker to match the name of a marker that was on the face. And then it would always specifically go to that marker on that designated target. And then what should happen, I'll just check that that's okay. We can see here that it's spewing out. It's obviously doesn't have anything to shoot at, so it's just going by default. But when that's actually got a target, that will spew onto the target. Right, so now if I come back to data, I'll just check everything here. So our flame throwing, trigger air flame firing, and air it's running off MG hull fire, and so is that. It's going to MG firing. So if I come back to here, I should be able to go. Right, so visibly name off MG hull fire is equal to fire, and I'll start firing a machine gun. If I switch that to flamethrower, it will start shooting a flamethrower. I can turn that off, switch that to flamethrower, and fire it up again, and it'll work. So we've got our machine gun slash flamethrower working how we want it to work. So we'll set up our variables in our motion tree for that now. So I'm just going to make a weapons group node, and I want to create 2 child nodes. And I'll call this one turret, and I'll call this one hull MG, and I'll give them 2 children each. And then I'll go turret horizontal, turret vertical, and the same again for the hull MG, vertical, and then I'll change them to a motion node, which lets me play an animation through them. I want it to play on startup because it's for our tracking, and it'll always be playing. This is our turret horizontal, so it plays our turret horizontal animation. We want it to loop because it will always be playing. It will be run off of our horizontal variable, and it will be absolute time. What that means is the play position on the animation will be determined by the variable. So a variable is going from negative 180 to 180, and because we've got a full 360 degree motion, that will basically go, okay, so 1 degree will work out to 1/360th of the animation, which is 1 degree. So we scale that, and that'll rotate that around, and we set that back to 0, and we'll be able to face the front again. So if we come down to turret horizontal, that's the wrong way around. I want to make that negative, so that when value is positive it goes to the right, when the value is negative it goes to the left. Just do a quick check that it's pretty close to the right angle. It's a little bit out. As you can see, it's not quite pointing straight back. That'll be barely noticeable in game, but it'll jump if it goes too far back. Oh, hang on. This is just because I've only got 100 frames. If you're having issues, you can always extend the number of frames you can extend the animation up to 360 frames, and that will more or less give you absolutely perfect every time. Why is that? Oh, yep, that won't help. Ah, that'd be right. As you can see, there's a limit to how many decimal places you can have, but that will be fine. Once they get back around to there, it will go to there anyway. That'll be barely noticeable. Right, so positive it's going to the right, negative it's going to the left. Cool, that's all set up. If I hit play, why is that red? Normally if your name is red, it means there's an issue. I can't quite... whatever, I fixed it. That's black, it works fine. You can also just set it straight to motion without renaming it, and then where are we? Turret vert, and then change, and then that'll match the animation name. Again, same deal. Turret vertical, absolute time, scale. Start up. Right, so yeah. Okay, so that's going the wrong way, so that needs to be negative there again. So we want positive to go up, negative to go down. That's working alright. It won't have that range motion anyway, it'll probably stop like there somewhere or stop there. That's all determined here in Object Editor. Under tracking. So under tracking normal, you can set your limits in degrees to what range of motion your turret has, and how fast it can track, how fast it can turn and rotate. Depending on what you set these max up and down values, it might not be able to hit targets. If your max down is too high, if a target's too close to the tank, they won't be able to shoot it. Obviously with larger tanks and stuff that would obviously have this weakness, it can be used quite well for realistic effects. So you know, a huge tank can be beaten by infantry that happen to get too close for them to be shot effectively. And then you just repeat the process for the whole machine gun. Horizontal, start up, horizontal, absolute time, scale, shift to 0, and again that needs to go to negative because it's gone the wrong way, and that's working properly. Start up, motion, vertical, whole vertical. This is probably going to be the wrong way again. Yep. Whoops, one vertical. Cool, that's working properly now. So now if I hit play and I get our whole machine gun to start firing, and I adjust our tracking, the effects and everything will go with it how it's supposed to. If I change that to flamethrower, I can more or less change our trajectory and change our aiming of the flamethrower, and that all works how it's supposed to. Whenever you click play, these will all reset to their default values. So instead of having to set states and then reset them all, you can just hit play and everything will go back to default if you want. Alright, so our turret's moving. I haven't assigned effects to that yet, and that's our weapon setup in the motion tree. You don't have to do much else for that. If you have a coaxial machine gun, that's a weapon that is pretty much attached to another weapon. So coaxial machine gun is the one that comes out of the turret. All you need to do for that is a vertical animation. You only need to do horizontal because you can just piggyback off of the turret itself. And then I'll just put it in here. So coaxial MG, let's give it a child node, and then you just set that up as you have everything else, except using your coaxial's animation. But what you do is you can set it off of the turret vertical, and what that'll do is then that'll pretty much follow the turret as the turret moves up and down, and then as the turret rotates, it'll rotate with the turret anyway. And then when you come up to your animation table, you still set both horizontal and vertical values, simply because if it wants to fire the coaxial machine gun but not the turret, it'll still need to track horizontally using that variable. And then in your EBPS, you just use something else that already has a coaxial machine gun on it, like a Sherman. Combat. There we go. Hardpoints. Alright, so I'll go. Here we go. Hardpoint 1 has a coaxial machine gun on it, and by being set to have with a parent hardpoint of hardpoint 1, so parent hardpoint 1 refers to hardpoint 01, that will have the same target as that turret. So it'll always be shooting at the same thing, so you won't have to worry about your turret wanting to shoot at one thing and then your coaxial machine gun wanting to shoot at something else.